Good evening. July 31st, 2018. This is our select board meeting at 5:30. Tonight we have a busy agenda. We're first going to be hearing something from business thinking of maybe coming to Hatfield. And also we have a posted hearing at 6:30 on the water sewer. So we'll get through as much as we can, but then the posted meeting will have to go at 6:30. Announcements, real estate taxes are due Wednesday, August 1st. Also under announcements, the board is seeking to appoint 3 individuals to town government to look at the structure of the Board of Selectmen and procedure methods to increase the board from 3 to 5. This was what the town voted for, so if you're interested, I guess contact Marlene, or can they do that online, or?
They can send me an email.
Okay. So send Marlene an email if you're interested. Anything else on that structure?
Well, I think there's been one resident that's already shown an interest, so they're still looking for 2 more just to figure out the details. As you said, as town meeting looking to see what was entailed in increasing the size.
Under announcements, we're seeking interest in an appointment to the Housing Committee. If somebody's interested, then please also contact Marlene via email. Those are my announcements. Cindy, do you have any announcements?
I'd only like to give condolences on behalf of the board to John Novak for the loss on his family. And John, for those that don't know him, John has been our video person for some time now and does a wonderful job. And, we'd just like to extend our sympathy.
For sure.
Brian?
No, I have nothing for.
Okay, anybody here for public forum? Yes.
Mike Cahill, North Street. Since you brought it up, I would like to express my interest in vying for the 5-member Board of Selectmen committee membership. So I'd do that officially tonight. And the other question I have is, and I've emailed Marlene a couple of times about this, will you, under topic number 9, be talking about the fiscal 17 management letter that's due from the auditing firm and the timing thereof, or the expected anticipated timing thereof at some point?
Again, public forum, and we make no comment, so we get to topic 9, we can discuss it then. And again, if you have an interest, please send Marlene an email.
Yeah,
okay, so anybody else for public forum? Okay, we're going to move to postage business topic 1. We're going to get, the way this is going to work, we're going to get a presentation from a company by the name of TreeWorks. My understanding, and TreeWorks, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you have met with the planning board informally. There's been no applications or anything. You just talked to the planning board informally, and you're just, at this point, my understanding is you're just looking possibly coming to Hatfield, maybe not, to have your business, and you're here just to meet with us and tell us something about your business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you come up front, state your names, give a little understanding of your business, and then after you're done, I'll allow the board to ask questions, and after the board asks questions, then I'll allow the public to ask questions, okay? So why don't you come up in front, state your name, and
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for having us. My name is McKay Freeland, and these are my partners, Milo Chop-Scampolo and Tim Kane.
Hi, guys.
You can sit. Perfect. Okay. So, yeah, as you stated, we had recently met kind of informally with the planning board in kind of as a suggestion by Bob, the head of the planning board. And we just briefly discussed our company and the idea of being on 3 West Street in Hatfield. We wanted to make sure that the proposed location for our cannabis operation was zoned correctly via what the planning board had put together. We found out that it is indeed zoned correctly for cannabis operation, the specific area, which is outlined inside this packet towards the back. There's a zoning map that we've taken directly off the Hatfield website. And that has been confirmed that our area is again properly zoned. We are a couple local guys. Milo Childs, my business partner, his mother lives in Hatfield. Both of these gentlemen are from Northampton. I'm from Gill, Massachusetts. And our goal is to pursue the cannabis industry here. And Hatfield seems like it would be a great location on the other side of 91 over at 3 West Street. The idea of our project originally came to be as a cannabis manufacturing, which is a business-to-business operation, which originally the idea was to have no growing and no retail, and strictly manufacture on the plant, hire up to 18 employees by 2021, first quarter. As of recently, since the planning board meeting, we've met with, we've networked and met with some more investors, and it's our understanding that we should be open to the potential idea of a small retail operation and/or a grow facility as well. Again, in our business plan, as of right now, is laid out as a product manufacturer, but we wanted to just keep everything open and be kind of upfront with you per kind of the advice of the planning board and Bob that our plan has been to have a product manufacturing facility. And we want to keep it open and be upfront with everyone that we would entertain the idea of pursuing some other license opportunities that are kind of going to be granted by the CCC. So I'm going to kind of hand it over to Tim. He's going to just talk about the ultimate purpose of this meeting, and that being kind of the community host agreement and the public hearing that we would like to have with Hatfield.
Yeah, so our goal is to work with the town to be in like full compliance with all the town zoning and all the town like special permit requirements. So we outline those in this little packet here via the Hatfield zoning bylaws 5.3.3 special permit applications. We want to be in full compliance with that, and also for the public hearing requirements. And then there's public hearing requirements that are specifically laid out by the CCC, which is the Cannabis Control Commission, so pretty much the governing body for the industry in Massachusetts. They've laid out what is required in this special town meeting, which is called the community outreach meeting. So that is, I believe, on page number 8. And included in that is a copy of the time, place, and subject matter in the meeting, which gets published in a newspaper a week in advance per the Hatfield regs. I believe they require 2 weeks advance notice of any such meetings. And then at the meeting, we're going to present the type of establishment we're opening, how we're going to maintain security of the location, and then the steps we're going to take to prevent diversion to minors, information adequate to demonstrate that a location will not constitute a nuisance, and that make sure that all community members are permitted to ask questions and receive answers from us about how we're going to approach our business. So I'll turn to Milo for a little bit about the base of our business, the product manufacturing, the kind of products we're trying to make, and how that's going to benefit the community.
Yeah, so I'm Milo Childs-Campolo. I am the head of products and sort of creating what we're doing. Or not all, but sort of the products that we're going to be offering to the public and distributing around the state, hopefully. So yeah, as a group, we decided that we really wanted to make, I have a lot of experience, a couple years experience working in the medical and recreational industries, cannabis industries out west in California and Oregon, and so through my experience, I just learned a lot about sort of the benefits of cannabis and what it can do and what it can bring to people in need, and not just be a substance that people are, getting high or, losing control or whatnot, that it can actually be a medicine for a lot of people, and it can help with a lot of different diseases, and it has been helping a lot of people. And I saw that, and I realized that, it's becoming legalized here in Massachusetts, and wanted to bring that to my community. So we moved back east, all of us, and we decided to try to open up a cannabis manufacturing company. And that was our original idea, and we're just pursuing that as a team, trying to make, healthy medicines for this community. And I'm aware that we can help bring some tax dollars, I think, in for the town. And we had talked about potentially maybe doing some gardening or planting of trees in the town, and trying to do some sort of community outreach get involved with the community. And just sort of want to introduce ourselves and move forward with the next steps and put a face to the name. And I think ultimately we're really pushing manufacturing as of right now. We are open to other ideas and moving forward, but currently we are just pushing and trying to start a edible manufacturing company. So
We're, a small business. We're local guys, mostly been fundraising from friends and family. So just to get one license through the CCC has been a big undertaking. We've been spending a lot of time and researching everything that we need to do and trying to work with the town to make everything happen, to make the business be a success.
Yeah, and I think it was confirmed, or for myself, confirmed when, after meeting with the planning board and just having the positive reaction overall. I think mostly from Bob's leadership, that it kind of confirmed that this is the town that we would be interested in pursuing that, just based on how we think it's gonna go over with the people that live here, and we're excited for kind of the next step. And if you have any questions, there's some other stuff included in this packet that we didn't specifically talk about. One, we anticipated potentially questions on security, so we included some of our just general overview of our security plan. So that seems to always be kind of an area of concern when it's in someone's community. So I think that pretty much covers just kind of a brief outline of our business and our idea, and certainly would open it up to more questions.
Okay, now we'll move to my colleagues' questions, and then we'll start with...
Okay, I did read through, the information you provided. You did answer some of my questions. Could you elaborate more a little bit on what exactly manufacturing to you entails? I know it, when I think of manufacturing, of what I've read in the law, I know what but you said you wanted to stick to the manufacturing end of it. So exactly what will you be doing there?
So we would be purchasing cannabis wholesale from the grow operations, the cultivators, and then we would be using that to make a variety of different products that you can make from the plants. So they would all be matching the CCC regs on proper dose amounts. The one considered dose based on Massachusetts regs is 5 milligrams of THC. So for example, if we make a candy or something like that, they would all be dosed specifically to that. A product that we've had been working a lot with test batches, and we've given to a lot of friends and families that we've seen a lot of really good reviews, is a pain salve, which is essentially it's a topical cream that's made from the cannabis plant, as well as coconut oil and a variety of other essential oils, and it provides some topical pain relief. And since it's administered as like a cream on a joint or muscle or something like that, it's not psychoactive through that method of putting it on yourself. And people have expressed a really strong reviews of how it gives them pain relief. And another product is a tincture that we're trying to develop. Miley, do you want to talk a little about the tinctures?
yeah, it's like a sublingual dropper full it's a coconut oil, liquid coconut oil, and it's infused, and it has some essential oils, sort of just aiming to do mainly healthy products. But yeah, it's sort of anything besides the traditional cannabis flower.
Yeah.
So it's really the sky is the limit. It could be from extracts to vaporizer pens to edibles, topicals, sunscreens and whatnot. So beverages, yeah, protein powder some people are doing. So it's kind of all sorts of stuff like that.
Okay. And you had mentioned that you had experience in the field. Do either of you folks have been involved in similar manufacturing with cannabis?
I have not been involved in the cannabis industry.
It's a new venture for you, okay.
New venture for myself, yeah. I have a background in kind of restaurant operation, and the kind of commercial kitchen we intend to put into to make these types of things. But Milo's the gentleman with the kind of the experience, so.
Yeah, I have the small business management experience as well. That's where my background is in.
Okay, then I'm going to ask this next question, Milo. Some people have been concerned about what it's going to smell like in the area.
Yep.
Okay. and I'll just give you a quick example, like Yankee Candle, they had a lot of issues, and they put on a filtration system, so it didn't irritate the neighbors. Amherst had a granola factory that actually became a problem because of the smell at night and stuff like that. Do you have a plan, like if that's an issue, do you expect it to be an issue?
Our plan is to use a commercial hood in the, sort of an internal hood over our cooking area, where it sort of takes up the smells and then kind of distributes it. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but supposedly they work very well to kind of take away the smell that would be otherwise sent out into the,
Does it vent
the air.
outside, or is it charcoal
it's
within?
a totally internal system, so it's taking the smells and sort of dissipating them. Yeah, that's my understanding, so that's what we're aiming to do, and we're not aiming to have a big stinky, marijuana farm. It's just gonna be in all enclosed doors and, in that location over on the other side of the highway, so.
Thank you.
Well, so first, thank you for the information, and I'm sure the townspeople, that are here and that are watching it appreciate that as well. I just really had a couple of questions, more about, so manufacturing is going to be your first step? I mean, I know you said that was going to be what you were looking into, but then it could evolve and maybe expand into the retail side or what have you. So when you come before the planning board with your actual proposal, it's going to be as a manufacturer first, or does it leave the door
That
left
is our
open?
main, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we want to focus on. We've had some of our investors and some industry experts that have said, keep the doors open, don't lock yourself into one avenue.
Yeah.
So we want to stay open to that. We want to sort of reiterate that with the planning board, because we've already spoken with the members there and discussed that it was really primarily just manufacturing, and that's definitely what it is. We are open to other licenses if we have the funding and if circumstances allow us to. We may be trying to put in other permits and trying to get more licenses, but currently it's just specifically manufacturing.
Okay.
I just want to add to that too, if in the case that did happen, or we had the funding or the partnership with someone for a bigger opportunity to happen, our goal is not to sneak it by the town whatsoever. Our goal is to start the process as we should with the planning board from square one, and make sure that the planning board, the townspeople, everyone in front of me right now is on the same page. We're not gonna, fake a product manufacturing license and apply for everything and try to sneak that past anyone, so. Really want to be super open about our intentions.
Sure, thank you. And then just lastly, did you have dates when you're ready to actually begin the whole process of meeting with the planning board? I mean, is this, tonight was for the selectmen, and I'm guessing the townspeople, kind of an overview of what you're looking to do, but are you ready to hit the ground running? Is this moving?
So we have our entire application through the state of Massachusetts complete,
Yeah.
except for one piece, which is that community host agreement that is outlined here. So that's a special town meeting that we would have to set. I don't know if we work with you guys to set that time and date. It seems clear that we want to have a more formal meeting with the planning board first before setting it.
Yeah, that would be the way to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. But ideally, to get that application in, to start that review process with the state, it'd be good to get that community host meeting, sometime soon. I think we had talked with Bob about, it was September 8th was a potential
Yeah,
date
it's
for
sort of
that.
early to middle of September, I'm not sure. I mean, for us, it's sort of time is of the essence, so
Yeah.
the sooner we can get things going, the better for us to get things started if we're met with open arms, I guess. And so, yeah, I guess that would be a question for you guys. I'm not really sure, how.
We would
Well,
look to
as
your
far as
guidance.
special town meetings, we.
Well, the community
we-
host agreement would be negotiated with the Board of
Right,
Selectmen.
okay.
And then the CCC requires the applicant to have a community event.
Yes, that special town meeting, yep.
So we would, I think, look,
Well, I
don't
don't
know
know
that we
that
need
it's
a
a special
special-
town meeting.
Oh,
It
it's
could be
not.
a hearing, a public hearing.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
we would look to
Not a
your
special
guidance and
town
how to
meeting.
execute it in a timely fashion and make ourselves available when we're needed to be available.
I know the town clerk has a question on the
Question.
town meeting.
Well, exactly.
It's not a special town meeting.
That's what I'm.
So a public hearing.
Yeah, the special town meeting is the whole town, big setup. What you're talking about is a hearing that the Board of Selectmen hold.
Yeah.
Okay.
correct?
Well, my understanding is the applicant is responsible for holding that.
Oh, okay.
So
But yes.
there would be a
community-
cost to advertising a notice in the newspaper of a public hearing, and it could be held here or wherever the Board of Selectmen would like to have it.
Yeah, we're prepared to place the
have it
ad
at the
at our
school.
expense, and we expect there will be some townspeople that want to come and ask questions and whatever it might be. So we're totally want it to be open for anyone who wants to join.
I think we usually, like, how much notice, like 3 weeks or something?
I believe it was 2 weeks. Notice in the paper,
That-
right? Was it?
You're
For-
you're talking a special town meeting.
Oh, okay,
This
maybe
isn't a
that's
special
different.
town
Gotcha.
meeting.
For a
This is
public
something
hearing, 2
different.
weeks' notice.
Okay, all right. So 2 weeks,
As long as you don't call it a special town meeting.
Okay, yeah, I guess I tried to turn around.
Don't do
Please.
that.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Nothing special about it.
They're all special. I have no more questions. Thank you very much.
okay, I want to thank you for considering Hatfield, and I do have some questions. Of course, you mentioned the size. How big is, for the townspeople, how big of a facility are you considering?
So currently, the access we have is the half of the building that we are looking into right now, which is just about 1,400 square feet. Ideally, we would think about, at the maximum, 5,000 square feet. The building itself, in total, both halves combined, is, I think, about 3,600 to 3,800 feet. There is a small area to expand another 1,500 square foot or so. So really, at the most, 5,000 square foot. Currently, kind of locked in or available is for about 1,400 square foot. Does that make sense? I said that? Okay.
That's what we're negotiating the lease for, is that section of the building, yeah.
Yeah, so 1,500 to 5,000 square foot.
And just briefly, the town would probably be wondering about security, because you mentioned security. That's what everybody's concerned with, so.
Sure.
Could you just give a brief thing on type of security that you have?
So I guess I'm gonna read from our security plan, general security overviews, just so everyone can hear what's on this document. TreeWorks of Massachusetts will implement policies and procedures to maintain a secure facility and to prevent diversion of other loss of marijuana products in accordance with 935 CRM 500.110 as set out by the Cannabis Control Commission. These policies are intended to protect the general public, employees, and consumers. TreeWorks will identify each individual seeking entrance into the marijuana establishment to ensure that only individuals who are 21 years or older are allowed access. These policies will provide the proper storage and disposal of marijuana products. TreeWorks will ensure that all excess marijuana is disposed of safely and will have in place the necessary storage areas and equipment for proper storage of cannabis or marijuana. This equipment will include, but is not limited to, locks, safes or vaults, keys, alarms, and cameras. In addition to these measures, TreeWorks will ensure that all marijuana products are kept out of plain sight of public places outside of the marijuana establishment. TreeWorks will also implement policies and procedures for situations following diversion or loss of marijuana products. In addition, TreeWorks will work cohesively with law enforcement authorities and fire services, and will share TreeWorks security plans, policies, and procedures with those authorities. This goes on for another 2 paragraphs about limited access areas and are in specifically the security and alarm requirements. We have a very long SOP that at the time of approval in the town, happy to provide our full security SOP. It also has to be in accordance with the regulations set forth by the CCC. So we're really not able to get our license and operate without every security requirement exactly up to code with any other establishment in the state. I don't know if I missed anything that either of you want to add.
No, I think that's right on. I'd say the security requirements laid out in the CCC regulations are very, very thorough, and we're gonna do everything we can to be totally in compliance with that, as well as working with the town to be on board with their.
And my last
recommendations.
question, just curious, how much of your product is recreational and how much of your product is medical? Do you have a percentage, or?
Currently, we're just going for the recreational license. So if we were to try to start a medical facility, we would have to apply for a completely separate license.
I see,
So we are
okay.
only striving for the recreational manufacturing license.
So right now, the way
as
I
of now.
understand it is you're looking at the facility, then possibly down the road, the option is a retail establishment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
The property is zoned for a retail establishment, so the space could be used just per the zoning as that if it was approved. So we're just keeping that option open and want you to be totally aware of, possibilities that could come up.
I do wish you luck with the process, because I understand it's a long process. and
It is a long
there's
process.
lot
We're learning that every month.
A lot of steps and leaps.
Can I ask one more?
Go right ahead.
You did say that it would be disposed of safely. What is the disposal method?
For raw flour, for just all products in particular?
But bird matches, anything, it's there, oh, sorry, if you.
Or, yeah, my understanding is that it's, our dumpster essentially will be locked. We'll have a padlocked dumpster, and in the disposal process, anything that has cannabis, residue on it will actually need to be mixed in with some sort of organic matter, whether it's soil or, grass clippings or something like that. It will have to be, fully, altered to not resemble any sort of cannabis substance.
But it'll be disposed of in an outdoor dumpster then?
In an outdoor locked dumpster, that is, I think, currently the plan.
Anybody in the audience have any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, Ed Lesko, Main Street, previous selectman. One of my questions here is, there's an aquifer out there, and I'm not sure exactly where the location that you were talking about. Is it on a sewer, or is it on a septic system?
It's currently on septic, and there's 300 gallons of available use per day. In the lease that we're drawing up, we're allowed access to half of that. If we need to use more than that water, the idea is that we would plan to hook up to the town water.
Okay. The concern that I have is the aquifer. I don't know if you're aware, of the aquifer system, the town of Hatfield is underneath that. Anything north, anything west of Interstate 91 is aquifer. Okay, so you're sitting on the town water supply all the way through, all the way up to Whately, from the Northampton line all the way to Whately line. And if you put a dumpster out there and there's water that gets in the dumpster and whatever you put in there, it washes out into the soil, then there's concern. So these are going to be brought up, especially at town meeting. So you're going to have some answers for that, looking at making sure that the water is not contaminated.
Absolutely. Thank you for proposing that.
Any other questions? Mike?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. You guys had mentioned, I think Ed, you asked how much would be medicinal as opposed to recreational, and at least initially. And you said it would all be recreational, at least that's the license that you've applied for, you've received. Yet the applications that you described sounded medicinal to me. You're talking about salves and tinctures and, so can you?
Yeah, I think I can just kind of
React to
word
that.
that a little bit differently. So the license that we're getting is recreational. What I think the biggest thing two major parts of that kind of pertains to, one being if you're going for a medical product, you have to have a special prescription essentially to use the products approved by a doctor. And two, it's a dose control. You're allowed to have essentially uncapped dosage if you're a medical user. We're going as a recreational company, we have anyone is allowed without prescription to come into a facility to purchase the products we'll be making, but the major change is the dose control. We can't have an unlimited dosage of cannabis per product. It has to be capped at 5 milligrams. So we can create the same products that the medical company can create. We can create a pain salve just as they would, but the major difference is the dosage, which will be a recreational dosage.
So your product is basically an over-the-counter.
It's an over-the-counter.
equivalent,
That's,
if
I
you will,
think,
as opposed to a prescription product.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, thanks for that.
And
Other question, I guess it's more about the business than anything else. Is TreeWorks MA, is that currently a legitimate business right now? And if so, where are you guys in the process of establishing that business? Obviously, are you in the incubation phase? Are you looking for, try to capitalize this business at this point? I mean, how viable are you as an organization right now?
Yeah, so we are registered as an LLC in Massachusetts,
Okay.
TreeWorks of Massachusetts, and the biggest step we're trying to take now is getting our application submitted to the state. So we've been fundraising from outside sources, and we're about 3/4 of the way to our fundraising goal that we think we need to legitimately run our business and pay for everything that's going to go into the build out and getting it up and running. So I think we're very close to being a legitimate business. The big thing is working with the town, and then once we get the approval of the town, then submitting the application to the state, and then working through the state to
Right.
get their approval.
Is there any information that you can share about your business plan at this point? What are you looking at in terms of revenues, projections for the next 12 to 18 months?
So we've outlined in kind of a brief kind of executive summary, the packets that we've handed out. I'm happy to share with you, that information we've clearly made public to the town in here. And if that's something you're interested in looking at, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I'd like to see,
Sure.
it might be helpful for the people that are watching, just for you guys to maybe give a quick summary of that.
Sure.
Since that's not gonna be, unless it's gonna be posted somewhere on the website or
Let me see
something.
what would be the best piece to read out here.
Plus, when they have the hearing, then these
Right.
questions can be brought up too, so.
Would you like me to read from our kind of financial summary? Would that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let's see here. Tree Works will be among the first cannabis products manufacturers to market the new Massachusetts recreational cannabis market, enabling Tree Works to generate rapid sales growth, substantial profitability, and cash balance increases post a 2-quarter startup period. During our first 2-quarter startup period, when cannabis prices are high and supply low, Tree Works will develop its B2B relationships, and then in parentheses, both suppliers/cultivators and retailers/dispensaries, end parenthesis, optimize production runs and product quality via trial, and train and educate new employees. This period will result in minimal sales and an operating loss of less than $150,000. During the next 3 years of full operation, having positioned itself in the market with high-quality products and competitive prices into distribution, Tree Works will see rapid sales growth of $3.2 million, $9.2 million, and $14.3 million for 2019, 2020, and 2021. This will be fueled by rapidly increasing raw cannabis supply and raw material price decreases that support expanded production, declining costs of goods sold, and hence improved gross margins. Additionally, in 2021, the product line will be expanded to further differentiate Tree Works. The new product lines will maintain a gross margin of 47% or better. And kind of the key assumptions, which are listed below in a chart, is essentially the price of cannabis getting lower as more growers are licensed and get up. And I hope
And these numbers are all associated with the manufacturing focus.
these are all
That's
out of
all,
our
yeah.
business plan for our manufacturing
So-
facility, and this is something that is, these are our kind of guesses. We're not sure what the price of cannabis will be in the next couple of months. It's yet to be determined, but you had to start somewhere. And I do want to just say that kind of alongside these numbers, our plan is to have 18 full-time employees by 2021 to kind of facilitate the numbers we've backed up. So the idea, and I'll talk briefly about our employees. The idea is that we're going to compete with other local manufacturing companies, whether it's a plastic company in South Deerfield or it's somewhere in the Greenfield Industrial Park. The idea is that someone with not necessarily a college degree, maybe someone local with a degree, whatever it might be, comes in and we're going to pay a good, strong starting wage and have a contributing job to the town. So,
Well, I'm going to close the questions, because if we have a hearing, we can have more questions and follow-up. Do you guys have any comments you want to close with?
I guess, as far as moving forth with our next meeting with the planning board, and then for the public hearing, should that be done at a later date with town officials, or can we work with you guys to set that up, or how's that all gonna go about?
We can work with you on setting up that public hearing,
Okay.
absolutely.
Is the public hearing, is the public hearing associated with the planning board approval process?
No, it's separate.
So would that be Wilma to reach out
That's a
to?
separate process. To meet
for
with the
board?
planning board, you set that up with Wilma.
With Wilma?
Contact
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, any questions, just contact Marlene, she can guide you. And
I'm sorry, Jack.
all right, so, okay, well, thank you for your presentation, and thank you for considering Hatfield, and
Yeah.
have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
meet you.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Nice meeting you. Yeah, thanks. Keep forgetting I'm wired up.
Take care.
but-
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have an extra copy if anyone would like one of these. Anything else?
I've already got you.
You can give it to Mike.
That's fine.
He likes reading that
I
stuff.
don't mind sharing.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice to meet you too. Be in touch.
Interesting.
Okay, next topic would be a 3-day license request from David Capriati, the beer guy.
The beer guy.
Why don't you come up and, David, and okay.
Evening, how are you?
Good, how
Very
are you?
good.
Dave Capriati, I own the Beer Guy LLC. I'm a new business out of South Hadley. I work very close with Ralph Sacramone and attorney Ed Ryan on the Alcohol Commission. I have a state liquor license that allows me to sell alcohol in 364 cities in the state of Massachusetts. Also, I give the option of the town to be able to do one-day permits. I do events, parties. I have a contract with MGM. I do MGM's cruise nights. I'm doing their grand opening. I do fall festivals. I do stuff for City of Northampton. I'm doing their cystic fibrosis or Bay State Medical charity organizations. I raise money for TJ O'Connor's. I signed a contract with Laser 99.3 to do their outside venues. They contacted me and asked me if I could do something for Ryan at Pioneer Valley Karting. And I said, sure, let me talk to the town and pull a permit and we'll see what happens. So I have a state-of-the-art 20-foot trailer. We run 14 taps. I have 4 employees, full liquor license. I'm basically the heart of the whole soul that runs the business. I'm a contractor by trade. I'm retiring. I retired from the sheriff's office after 28 years, and I'm tired. This is my retirement. This is what I'm doing. I do stuff for Harley Davidson motorcycle. I do stuff for Indian motorcycle. I'm everywhere. This is a new business for 2018. It took me a year to get my license through the city of South Hadley. I had to jump through quite a few hoops, quite a few alcohol meetings, set everything all up. I love it. It's great.
Okay, the only thing I see on the application, it says police department must sign off. Did the,
Yes, he did.
He did, his
He
initials
did.
are on
I went
there.
over there first thing and talked to him, and
and
he has no problem with doing events over there, because he's done, I guess Ryan has done stuff before. It's only this time he wants to try to step up and do it like, we're professional. I mean, I'll leave you a card. You can go on my website and look of how we set things up and how we do stuff. We do stuff for the city of Holyoke for Jane. We do the road race, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I was just over at Holyoke this morning. She called me and asked me if I would do the Celebrate Holyoke for them. I met with her this morning, so I got paperwork in with them, and we do stuff for the Chamber of Commerce for the city of Holyoke.
okay, so this is a fundraiser between 4 and 8 on August 9th.
Yes,
Right, and the fundraiser is for,
it's for Laser 99.3.
okay. And the application key is all in order and it's all set. You guys have any questions?
No, sounds fun.
I don't have any more questions. Yes.
You're welcome.
Just send us a copy of your license.
Sure.
You said you
It
have a
says here,
license.
3-day license request.
Yeah, one day before for purchase, because you have to
Yeah.
purchase 24 hours in advance, 1 day for the event, and because it falls on a Thursday, Williams is closed on Friday, so I return anything that I don't sell to them, either Saturday morning or Friday
And
evening.
how about liability insurance? Are you?
I
you
fully- I have-
carry
I have-
that, and does
I have-
indoor karting carry that as well?
No, I carry my own liquor liability
And how
insurance.
about indoor karting? Do they have?
My liquor liability through hospitality insurance overrides theirs because I have such a huge policy. Their liability insurance covers them for people that are inside for any type of injuries and,
That's all part of the application. so,
Yes.
Yeah, so it's right there, so.
I make sure of that because I check with hospitality insurance for every single one of my events. I dot my Ts and cross my Is, so. I'm very proactive when we do events.
Any more questions?
No, I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve the license for the beer guy, David Capriati, for
On the motion, any discussion?
August 9th.
All in favor?
Aye.
So
The only
quick,
difference is
motion carries.
I have
Okay, you're all
the other
set.
check for the $50 and
Yep.
So, I give
That's
that to-
how-
Kilo.
I give you,
You'll get your license tomorrow, not today.
that's okay.
Okay.
I'm leaving for Hampton Beach for my wedding anniversary for 4 days, so I won't be back till Monday. So is that okay?
Good time.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
10 years goes fast.
yeah.
So,
Hampshire or Franklin County? See how-
what's that?
Hampshire or Franklin
Hampshire.
County?
Yeah. I left as a lieutenant.
Okay,
I got tired after so many years.
you're good.
A lot of long nights, a lot of long days.
Thanks,
Have a good
David.
one.
I'll
Okay.
leave the check with you right now for that, so I can pick it up on Monday.
Okay, next one on the docket would be a request for a 3-day license for the Holy Name of Jesus Church, and I know they usually have a function there at the Lions once a year, and I don't recall ever hearing anything bad about this, so
The music's good?
I have a motion on this
Make a
one.
motion to approve the 3-day license for the Holy Name of Jesus Parish on Sunday, August 19th.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, topic for September primary election warrant. Does the town clerk need to be part of this?
Make a motion to approve the warrant for 2018 state primary.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's see, our
need this.
hearing.
Yeah.
You need this-
Sign it and give it to me, and then I can get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just got to sign the warrant, right, on that, which is right here.
Sign the warrant, yes.
All right.
Do you want these signed too at the same time?
Yeah, we approved it.
Great.
And we
this
approved that
was
one, too.
Yep. And that's it.
Okay,
Thanks. You can sign these, we can keep going, Ed.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, since our hearing's at 6:30 and we have some time, I'm going to jump around.
Do you want to
Um,
do the approval of the minutes? We didn't do
Yeah, we
that
did,
yet.
we
Okay,
skipped
well-
over that, yeah.
Yep.
Approval of minutes for June
12,
12,
yeah.
2018.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from June 12, 2018.
Yeah. Okay.
Good? Yep. Thank you, Lydia.
Anybody have any question on the minutes?
No, I had to leave the room for part of them, I left the room for part of them, so I'll just abstain, and you can go ahead, because I wasn't here for all of it,
Okay.
just to make it proper.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for June 12, 2018.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, and note that Select Board Member Doty abstained, right?
Yeah, I wasn't here for
Okay.
all of it, yeah.
All right, that's fine. Thanks for catching me on that.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay,
Figured it was a lull in the action, so now was a good time to go back.
let's go to topic 6, legal services, requests for proposals.
And I apologize, I have not completed drafting that RFP. So again, that is for legal services. Of course, you know, Gary Brackett passed away. In the meantime, Attorney Mullen and Attorney Pickett is helping the town out. But I do expect to have that RFP for the board very soon. I have prepared in your packet the draft RFP for IT Administrative Support Services, if you'd like to review that.
And the scope covers everything that you guys are looking for?
Yes. I feel, confident of this. Actually, I've had a couple of people take a look at it, and certainly if either of you have something that you'd like to add or change. In August of 2017, we sent a letter to the Hampshire Council of Governments, so that was almost a year ago, notifying them. We are required, pursuant to the contract agreement with the Hampshire Council of Governments, to give them 30 days' notice. So I'm recommending that we issue the solicitation and then review proposals. And then, if there appears to be something we can accept, there's certainly the 30-day window to give them notification.
Nice job. I like this. It's pretty, includes everything. So,
Good to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, you have any comments, Cindy?
No.
Okay. Do you need a motion on this, or?
If the Board of Selectmen is in agreement, with soliciting proposals for IT services, that's all I ask, is that there is a record that the board approved solicited.
I'll make a motion to follow the Town of Hatfield invitation to bid for the IT services.
Second?
Thank you.
third.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
I got 12 minutes. I'll move to topic number 8. We should be
HR
able to-
policy review. I reviewed Section 9 and Section 10. Section 9 is the probationary period, and at this time, I don't think it's necessary to, the probationary period is the first 6 months of employment. I think that's acceptable, reasonable. And then classification employees is simply the definition of a regular full-time employee, part-time employee, temporary seasonal position, and public safety employee, and a probationary employee.
Did we ever find out if the part-time employee rules that we follow were set by the Hampshire Council of Governments that,
Hampshire Council of Governments?
or anybody? There was a question previously saying if an employee worked 20 hours, then they receive benefits. And the question was, could we raise it to 30 hours if the town wanted to? Or we were not allowed to do that.
Well, a regular employee who works 20 hours a week on a regular basis is entitled to benefits on a prorated basis. When you say Hampshire County, are you thinking retirement?
I'm not sure, because that question came up, and you mentioned that you talked to Daryl about that question, and he thought that the 20 hours was like mandatory, that the town had to give benefits at 20 hours. And we couldn't raise that like to 25 or 28 before the town gave benefits.
Well, my understanding, and Edwina, Sharon, you can, jump in anytime here. As far as retirement goes, I'm not privy to that information, whether an employee working 20 hours is entitled to retirement pension? They are, okay.
Well, yeah, they are, but could the town raise that if the town wanted to, like,
think that's a-
25 hours?
I think
or
that's a state
Oh,
or
change.
before
federal.
they
I think that's
had
a
to
state or
give
federal.
benefits? I'm just
I don't know what
curious.
I don't know what the requirement is.
I think that has to be approved on town floor, that, chapter 32B, all that information is lined up in that. But we can look into
We
that.
can,
and
yeah,
get
we can
back
certainly
to
do that.
I'm just curious. I mean, if the town said,
Wouldn't-
you know,
Wouldn't there be state and/or federal statutes that require at what level, what level you're entitled to benefits as part-time? I would imagine. I can't imagine the town came up with
Yeah.
this number. I'm guessing this is a federal or state edict. Yeah.
Right.
Right,
But we also have to get town approval.
right. But to
But it's
change it,
based upon the state.
yes, correct. Right.
okay. No, it's just
Okay.
I mean, there might be a state and federal law that says that's the hours.
The
Look into that,
qualifications.
we'll look into that.
I'm just curious, that's all.
I'm not familiar with that.
Were there is this, Marlene, just informative as far as the
I'm-
classification plan?
And
Brett?
I checked that, I researched the minutes, the Board of Selectmen, and actually I have this here, in a letter of recommendation from the Human Resource Advisory Committee
Yep.
to the Board of Selectmen in April of 2014. And it was the meeting of May 27th, 2014, that the Board of Selectmen approved this classification plan.
So I guess, really my question was more of this was already in the policy. There's no
It is in
change,
the
there's no
right,
change to
there
this
is
being
not.
recommended tonight.
That's right, there is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions on the policy?
No?
So you're looking for us to provide a motion to keep the policy, or?
If you're in agreement with the, well, there aren't any changes if you're in agreement as it appears currently, unless you want to discuss any particular paragraph here, section?
No,
Okay.
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it.
Then I'll make a motion to accept it as written.
As presented, or, yeah, sure. Second?
I have a motion and second. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a 5-minute break, if
good
that's
idea.
okay, and then we'll have our hearing at 6:30. So, okay, thank you. We're back. Next, we're going to proceed with a public hearing. And the way I understand the process is it's an open hearing. So what's going to happen is we're going to have a presentation, then the board will have a discussion. Then after the board has a discussion, we'll open it up to public comments. I ask that the comments stay within a few minutes or so. And then after comments, the hearing becomes closed, and then the board makes a decision. So we're going to move right into the open hearing. Today is, okay. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 31st, 2018 at 6:30 in Memorial Town Hall, 10959 Main Street, for the purpose of reviewing the Department of Public Works proposed infrastructure improvements that would extend sewer service on Route 10 from Linseed Road to Rocks Road, and water service along Route 5 from Rocks Road and extending south approximately 2,200 feet. The proposed water main improvements are a continuation of the town's recent efforts and expenditures, which installed a new transmission main from the existing water treatment facility down Rocks Road to Route 5, along Route 5 and along Chestnut Street from Route 5 to Brockway Smith facility. The proposed sewer improvements consist of a gravity sewer pump station, a 4-inch force main to convey wastewater from the project area to the town's existing sewer system. Improvements will provide necessary water and sewer service to several parcels presently zoned industrial and light industrial between number 77 West Street and Rocks Road. A copy of the proposed plan is on file with the town clerk. So as far as this hearing goes, examination of oath is not required for this. So now we're going to have a presentation by our DPW director on the proposed sewer extension.
Thank you. As the chairman had stated, he gave you the particulars of the project. We are applying for a Mass Works grant. It's going to be a little bit over a $2 million grant that we're applying for to run the sewer infrastructure and bring the water back towards Church Avenue. We have some businesses that are trying to expand down in that area and willing to invest some pretty good money and bring some jobs to the community, which is one of the criterias of the grant. The town did invest over $2 million to bring the water transmission main down across Route 5 under I-91 to the Brockway and Smith plant. So we have an investment in it already. We are looking to expand the sewer now to bring businesses to the Route 5 corridor, which seems a likely place to go. Brockway and Smith also has interest in this because once we abandon the water line, the existing water line, they can come down and use that line to sleeve to run sewer from Brockway and Smith down into Route 5 if the sewer is built. So we're looking to help everybody here expand. We're looking for some support from the community as well as the residents and businesses along that corridor. Like I said, it's a Mass Works grant, over $2 million. So I'm sure if there's any questions, we can surely try to answer them.
Part of this was started when various businesses wanted to expand their businesses, and they really can't expand unless they have a sewer line, because if they build a septic system, it takes up, my understanding, a third of the property, and it prevents them from the expansion, and the cost is astronomical. Plus, the advantages to the town is it helps offset some of the tax base. I don't know if we pass this around for everybody on the proposal. Okay, you can pass that around. They can see what the proposal is.
There's some extras up here too on the table.
Yeah, there's some on the table too. The next part of this would be discussion among the board on this, and then we'll open it up to public comments. So, anybody want to start with discussion?
No, I'm going to listen first. Thank you.
All right, I'll start. So this has been quite an undertaking with Bill, the DPW director, and Kyle, the building inspector, who have been utilizing their various friends and contacts in various locations to try to have Hatfield's grant move to the top of the grant submission list. There's absolutely no guarantee that we will receive this, but we are doing our best to work with the businesses, as Phil said. We've had meetings with the businesses, with the President and Economic Development Director for Western Massachusetts. We expect Secretary Ash to be here in a few weeks, along with the Economic Director, Mr. Sullivan. Steve Eltron has been a very big proponent of this, as have other businesses. And we've got our engineer has been doing the design work for this for many, many months. And we see it, I see it, I think, I can't speak for the whole board, but we see it as an advantage to the town to be able to expand business and housing and create jobs and economic development, which is what all has to go into this grant that we're asking for, which once again is over $2 million to expand that service down Route 5. So I think that's all I had to say about it right now. I don't know if I might be able to answer some questions as they come up. Yeah.
Will we be able to expand this all the way down to the 91 Passover on Route 5 northbound?
So Phil might be able to answer this better than I, but what I would say is this is, as I see it, the beginning phase. You know, when we met with the state officials originally, I think the recommendation or the suggestion was, why don't you go for a piece of this versus, because by the way, the grant only has so much money in it, and so you're only able to get so much. So it was kind of, why don't we get what we can to get this thing rolling, and you know, continue to show the growth and the business expansion, and then I don't want to use the term phase because we use that a lot in Hatfield, but you know, the next step might be, once this is done and the businesses are expanded and they see what has happened, that we can continue to move forward for the next round.
My understanding when we pushed the pipe under the highway, that it was going to have the capacity to pick up all of that at some point and be able to move on. We were involved in that first leg of it to get it across
91.
to West Hatfield.
Yep.
And it's a great idea. I don't think it's going to hurt anybody's feelings to do it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, come up, state, speak up.
Residential.
You gotta state your name and where you live.
Oh,
And then.
Jeff Bartlett, I'm 53 West Street, and was just interested to know if there'll be a residential tie-in available as this line passes. Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because if we extend the sewer, I'm not gonna say when we extend the sewer, but hopefully when we extend the sewer, you know, it will be all stubbed out for the residents as well as any empty commercial lots, residential lots along that corridor. So expansion for another home or some more business, or the existing homes that are there can surely tie in.
Plus, I mean, today, if your septic system fails, it's expensive to replace that system. So that's a future advantage of the line. Yes, sir.
Ken Brown, 41 West Street. What would be the cost for a resident to tie into the system?
The sewer fee to tie in is $1,000.
And that brings it from the house to?
No, that's just to enter into the sewer system. That's just a user fee to get into the system. Then you have to hire a contractor to put it in. So, I don't know what the running cost is today, but.
Mr. Betzel.
So much a foot.
Okay, supposing you get this done and we look into the sewer line, do we have to remove what we already have in a septic system, which would be very expensive? Do you have to take out the septic system if you hook onto the sewer line?
My understanding is if you hook into the town sewer that's available, you would only have to crush or fill the tank. You don't have to remove the entire system.
Okay.
I just want to follow up, if I may, Virginia Canton, 37 West Street. I wondered if you could just, isn't there some sort of a program when you do buy in, or you go for a septic tie-in or whatever, some sort of a rebate or other sort of program available through the state? I think they used to do that, some areas, towns, I didn't know.
I thought there was like a Title V at one time.
Board of Health may know about that.
The Board of Health would know that, but I thought there was something like that. I think you're right, that at one time, when they came through with the Title V conditions, I thought that there was some money available at one time, but it's probably all gone.
I can follow up with the Board of Health.
I was going to say, we can ask that question,
I
for
will do
sure.
that.
Lydia Zish, 449 Main Street. Are you required to tie in once the sewer goes through, or is it optional?
I don't think
No,
so.
there's no requirement that you have to. So if you put in a septic system this year and then the sewer runs by in a year or two, there's no requirement for you to tie in.
But you'd have an insurance policy. If your septic system does fail in a couple of years, then you'll have the chance to tie in and,
Anytime in the future.
Right.
The rate might be different.
Ed, I know you had a
For you,
question.
Mike.
Yeah, the concern that I have is the water line when it stops at that commercial industrial area. Okay, I know quite a few years ago, we put an application in, same as this one here, to go all the way to the Northampton line or Linseed Road. And if we don't do that, the water pressure is not going to boost. But it looks to me like if you tie it in at Linseed Road, we're going to have that loop system, which is going to boost the pressure, the water pressure in the line. So why wouldn't we be pushing to get that to Linseed Road just to boost the water pressure? Because with the industry going in there and everybody's going to be requiring sprinkler systems, there's not going to be enough pressure in that line to push anything going in there. So, now would be the time to boost that up and tie that lines together to make it beneficial to everybody.
I'm sure we could tie the line together, but it won't be the 10 or 12-inch main that's going to come south. It would just tie into the existing system that's there
What is that,
today.
6?
I think it's 6.
Yeah, and you're cutting it down, and that's part of the problem, that you're not boosting the pressure up. That's one of the reasons we have to put the pump in this building here, okay, because we don't have enough pressure in the line. So is that something that we can look at?
We can look at it.
As far as, incorporating that in here, so we don't.
Surely we'll take a look at it to see what the cost would be. Mr. Moriarty had said, though, is that in our last meeting, we were told, don't go over this number. If you want a good application, here's the number. So, and that's where we're trying to stay.
I hear you, but.
We don't want the thing to go from the top to the middle or to the bottom. We want to stay on that top layer of applications.
That's a selling point for the industry here, to get the increase in pressure.
I think that's a fair question, Ed. I think that's something we can run by Mike Ohl. Do you remember Mike, who's the engineer that's actually been scoping this out and working with Phil and excuse me, on the application process?
Yes, sir.
Ken Brown, 41 West Street. Is there any ballpark as to when this would be done?
Well, first the application's got to go in, and we got to hope that it gets accepted. And then maybe Phil would, if it got accepted,
The application's a very short time frame. It opened yesterday and it closes August 10th, so it's very short window.
And you have to have the public hearing in between.
Correct. So that's why we're having the public hearing tonight. And then after that, of course, they go through all the applications, which usually doesn't take too long. I think that, last year they were awarding some applications in September.
Will we get letters?
So would that be like within
But
a year?
then we have to, construction season will be over for this year, so I'm looking probably next year if it happened.
So this is like the last piece of the puzzle, because the engineering firm and the application, my understanding, and the letters of commitment from legislatures, the letter of commitment from businesses, there's a whole list, Marlene, there's a whole list of people that have written letters of support for this project, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So we've tried to do our very best to cross the Ts and dot the Is, and if everybody approves to this, and then the next step would get that application in and cross our fingers.
Phil, question for you. You had mentioned that Brockway Smith, if this were to go through, might want to tie into
They're
the
interested.
new sewer line. Are they on septic now?
They're on septic, yep.
So it begs then the question, the whole thing does, how about our capacity at the sewage treatment plant? to be
We're
able to
fine in
accommodate
capacity.
this?
We just had a 5-year inspection and we're good for capacity. So, my concern for capacity going into the plant was that they were gonna say, you have to remove X amount of I&I, and that didn't even come up, so that was a good thing. That was a very good thing, so. DEP was happy with the way the plant is and the capacity in the plant and what we're doing down there now, so.
So just curious, what does that bring us to as far as capacity is concerned? What are your projections?
Maybe 80%.
80?
Yeah. you know, it's getting up there, but don't forget, there's a lot of I that goes through that
Oh, I
plant
know.
still, you know, so, you know, you clean some of that up and, you know, you're gonna drop the so.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll drop the
People might
capacity.
wanna know what I stands for.
Well,
but
it's
they may not
infiltration
understand.
inflow, so it's groundwater, it comes
Groundwater
into the
going into
plant.
the sewer.
Yes, ma'am. I know you had a question.
Joanne Brown, 41 West Street. It is down the road a little bit. Any implication on our taxes?
What was the question?
Would it affect
Would
the
it affect
taxes?
our taxes, our property
No.
The sewer going in shouldn't.
The capital
Actually,
cost
right, and what should ultimately happen is, we would hope that the growth of the businesses and industry down there would, would actually help the tax base.
There'll be no cost to the community as far as paying into the grant, because it's a MassWorks grant, which is fully funded.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Ursula Donaldson, 44 West. Do you have a deadline for getting in the support letters?
As soon as possible.
Yeah. Like I said, the application closes on the 10th, and we're looking to at least submit next week, I would say, late next week, a week.
Yeah. So I think to answer your question, by the middle of next week would be appropriate if one were to sign a
And
letter of
to answer your
support.
question, we'll be knocking on this door every day until it's submitted.
Well, I don't have a computer hookup yet at my house. I can have a camera
Yeah.
or go somewhere.
Sure.
We do
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
boiler.
Kmart, 45 West Street. Where would the lines be placed exactly? On which side of the road, or I'm not sure where those things actually get laid?
I want to say that they're going on the same side as
Be the west side.
the west side, yes, I want to say.
That's our side.
That's our discussion with DOT, because Mass DOT has, a lot of jurisdiction down there, so
Right.
that's going to be,
At the state highway.
they might say we want it on the other side. We don't know, we don't know that. It's designed for the west side so far. And our design went through Mass DOT already, so we haven't heard any pushback. But you never know. I mean, when we did the other parcel, when we did the private-public piece between RK Miles and the Northampton line, they kept going back and forth, and, we already had the design done, so they accepted it eventually, but it's Mass DOT.
Do we have any more questions from, yes?
Yeah, I think Jan had one.
Okay.
Janice on Street 57 West, is the $1,000 user fee to get into the system, is that whether you do it when it's happening or at a later date?
No, whenever you're deciding to hook in. Or you can prepay it if you wanted to, and then you'd have the application. We've had some people that have already come in, not for that parcel, but for other pieces within the community that have already paid a sewer entrance fee and haven't hooked in yet. So it's up to you when you pay it or if you pay it. Like I said, if you're, because who knows in 10 years is the fee gonna go up? I don't know that.
And I don't know, in general, how long does it take for an individual to hire somebody to come in and say, well, this is how much it's gonna cost you guys to hook up to this from where your house is?
Well, in my experience of 40 years, that's sad, but
Happens too fast.
it's been that long. I found that like if we're doing a section and all the neighbors get together and hire one contractor, it's a lot cheaper. To say, well, you're gonna hire this contractor, you're gonna hire another contractor. If you get one that's gonna do 5 or 6 houses in a row, the price is gonna be better, because they're gonna buy the bulk, the equipment's on site, they're gonna buy the bulk pipe, you get a better deal.
And that generally, you can get a price on that before you decide to say yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They'll come and give you a price per foot. And like I say, it's not a requirement. In another community I was in, it was a requirement. You had so much time to hook in because the town invested X amount of dollars into that system. And then if you didn't hook in, they would charge you a fee for just going by your house, so, you know.
So we're pretty far back, so that's pretty costly.
What's that?
We're pretty far back, so that's
Yeah.
pretty costly for us.
You know, well, I mean, like I said, in Hatfield, it's your choice whether you do or you don't. You know, if your septic fails, you'd have to, or you think your septic's gonna fail, you have to weigh the options. Because once you're in the sewer, then your problems are solved.
Where's the pumping station?
I really don't.
You don't have it, it's not engineered yet?
It's engineered, but I don't have it with me. Yeah.
Cindy?
I just wanted to follow up if I could with the sewage treatment plant question. We're at 80% now. Is it still?
About 80%.
Yeah, is it still 90% when we're required to expand when we hit 90? Is that still a state requirement?
It could be. I didn't really see the new permit yet, because we just, like I said, they just came the other day, so. I mean, with this, I don't think it's gonna be that much. I mean, what I'm understanding is that the businesses are going there is gonna be more of a manufacturing business instead of a water usage business. So,
Right.
it might not increase that much, you
Yeah.
know?
'Cause-
There's no big water uses that I've talked to on that corridor yet to run into the sewer system. It seems like it's more of a light manufacturing, some other office buildings, and maybe some housing, but I don't see any big usage, like a CNS or a Helena,
Driveway ties in, that's a little.
Yeah, they really, I mean, but
Yeah,
it's not a
they're not
water
using
usage, it's usually just, for,
Employees.
yeah, to support the bathroom facilities or to wash things, but it's
Do we have
not.
any more questions? Then I will move to close the hearing, and we'll close the hearing now, and we'll discuss our action. Do we have a motion to approve this permit? Or how does that, we have to make a motion to approve the application?
A vote
or-
that the Board of Selectmen supports this project.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the project.
Okay,
Do
second.
I have a second? Any discussion?
Just like to thank all the residents that came. It's a great crowd. Thank you. Awesome questions. I hope it works out for the town and more, for you guys as well down the road. It's, if that's the decision you make to tie in. So I think it's going to be a good thing.
I do.
That's all.
Yeah, we do want to thank you for coming. We appreciate you coming here, asking the questions and finding out stuff. So there's a motion, and it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. It's all approved. Hopefully, we get that application in as quickly as we can and double-check everything and make sure they go. So,
Again, as the DPW director and, on benefit of the town, I would like to thank everybody for coming. And surely, if you want to write a letter of recommendation to support the project, we'll put it in the packet.
We deposit
Yeah,
it in
either
town hall?
with the town administrator, she has all the information there, so.
And if you go home and you have another question, feel free to ask it or contact Phil, or we'll get you the answer. Because, sometimes you come to things and you think of something when you leave. You go, oh, okay. So just feel free to ask, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Want to take 2 minutes while the
Need a
crowd thins? Yeah.
Break,
Yeah.
let everybody leave. John, we'll take a couple minutes, give everybody a chance to leave, okay? Okay, we're back. I guess, topic 9. Do we want to take up topic 9 yet, next? Okay.
So for the board's information, this section concludes the financial policies as a whole.
Yeah.
And I have gone through pages 63 through 78. I do not have any concerns, questions, or comments. It's very helpful information. And if the board is comfortable after completing this, the board can approve to adopt the financial policies.
This was part of a DLS that sent,
Division of Local Services completed
yeah,
this
they
under the
were
Commonwealth.
recommending this policy for the town.
Right, we have completed
Yeah.
the financial planning and the financial
Right.
management operations sections.
You guys have any issues?
No, I think this reinforces what we already had on the books and adds to it and strengthens the policies, the processes, and the expectations for the people in the various departments. So thanks for putting this together, Marlene.
Okay, so,
No, you don't really find anything wrong usually until you go to use it and something doesn't work right, and then you figure it out. But you have to have something in place to have guidelines for, and I think these guidelines are good.
okay.
Agree.
Do you need a motion on this? Yes?
Yes, to adopt it,
Okay.
to
Have a
adopt the
motion?
financial policies.
I'll make that motion to accept the financial policies as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made, motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, we already talked about IT support, right? Or,
Yes, we
Yes, we
did.
did.
so that's covered. And legal services?
Legal services, the RFP is not complete.
Okay, so we're going to bring it up at our next meeting?
Yes.
And,
Actually, I'll get that out to you in advance of the meeting. If you have time
Okay.
to look at it, and then it'll just be a matter of
so the last
with it.
item would be topic 7. And that's the last topic we have, and you'll have to excuse yourself.
Last
Before
item
the
before
ex-
going into
to executive
executive session.
Yeah, we have 2 executive sessions.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right, that this is the last item, but then we'll be going into executive
right.
session. I didn't want you to get too
Yeah.
excited that we were going to
Last
be able to leave
topic.
after this.
I got it. But thank you.
Sure.
The microphone. John, I remember the microphone.
Okay.
And I'll excuse myself to the audience.
Mr. Chairman, I was just wondering if I could ask a question. This has to do with topic 9, under topic 9, the financial side of things. Well, it's 2 questions, actually. One was the management letter from the fiscal 17 audit, and, you know, what the status is of that. The other is, I'm just wondering if, perhaps not this evening, because I know you're short of time, but beginning with our next meeting, or your next meeting, can you and will you provide a routine update on where we're at with the financial challenges that we have and have had, namely, you know, where we're at with fiscal 18 accounting and reconciliations, how we're doing with fiscal 19, you know, are there some sort of deliverables expected? Are there dates and times, if you will, expected for each of those? It just seems to me that given what we've been through and where we're at, that it would make sense for the board to review that and comment on the status of that.
Well, I believe
Each
that could
meeting.
be at the next meeting under old business. I don't have a problem bringing that up, and that's probably a good point that you make. We have been moving along in a very positive manner, and it's been very good so far. Reconciliation is almost, for 18's almost done. And it's possible that in another month or so, we can bring the auditors in, but I will get that information. But we can give you what we have. But all I can say right now is with the people in place, it's been a very positive experience, and everybody's moving in a very good motion.
May I add something?
Sure.
Mike, in response to your inquiry, the financial management team meets weekly, and we have established goals, and once a month, the financial consultant joins us. And actually, as of last Friday, I believe, the treasurer's office has pretty well reconciled. to on the treasurer's side, reconciled to the bank statements for fiscal year 18.
Right.
So there's still some things to work through, but then that office will reconcile with the accountant's side to the general ledger.
And that's helpful, Marlene. I was just wondering,
Yeah.
for the purposes of
And in-
informing the community because of all that we've been through.
Right.
Maybe it
No,
makes sense for you
absolutely.
guys to share something like that
It's
at
good
each
to
of
do
your
that,
meetings
right.
until we
And-
are all straightened away. I think that would be helpful.
In June, the Finance Committee had asked if the Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee could meet in August, and so there will be a financial update in August.
And I think the August meeting will be more up to date on all the information you're requesting, so. Perfect.
Good to know.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
So I'm going to go to the audience. So I don't-
Okay. Cindy has to leave because we'll be discussing the emergency management director, and since she's emergency management director, she's not allowed to be part of this discussion per state law and statute. As of last meeting, if I recall, we extended the appointment for the end of this month, right? So the 31st.
Yeah.
And if I recall, we both had a little difference of opinion on the position and how it's set up.
Well, I don't think we had a difference of opinion. I think we were asked by the chiefs and the Emergency Management Committee to move the position under the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, and
So-
then since that time, the chiefs, well, one chief and another member of emergency management found out that if we moved the position under the Board of Selectmen, then we would lose the existing emergency management director because the board can't appoint a fellow board member.
Correct.
And in order for that to happen, then the EMD would have to resign from the board and reapply in 90 days. So, and now, listening to people out there, they were concerned because of the fact that if we moved it under the board, they were not aware that they would lose an experienced, well-trained emergency management director. So that puts it at another situation, I guess.
Right, so since that time, I've met with both chiefs simultaneously, the fire chief and the police chief. And through those discussions, we have what they thought was an appropriate job description for the position of emergency management director, regardless of who holds that position. And I think it was in our packet.
So is tonight, is your desire just to look at the job description and update the job description of EMD, but not decide of moving that position? Or is your desire to look at the job description, look at moving the position, and look at how to refill or?
I think, to be honest with you, what I'd like is for you and I, whether tonight or at the next, let me answer all those questions you just asked. My personal feeling is to not leave the town without an emergency management director, okay? So I would at least be moving to extend that at the least, until you and I, if that's how this is going to work, if you want to talk to the chiefs about their input, if you and I want to talk about it, over the next couple of weeks, and then, make a decision once and for all at the end of August, we can do it that way.
All right, that would be good.
Because I know you've been on vacation, this was in our packet.
Yes.
So, I mean, and I think, to be honest, to me, in reading this, there's nothing, this was already what we had for the most part, and I think it kind of clarifies probably what were some assumptions of various people.
Yes.
So I think it just kind of puts it in writing, and whoever's in that position, this is the expectation of what goes along with being the emergency management director. It doesn't seem to be anything
Okay,
horrible or anything.
I'm in agreement of voting on the emergency management director's job description here as stated. And then we could keep our existing emergency management director as it is until we have a chance to further discuss with the chiefs.
The next couple of weeks, I know.
Or the emergency
And the police
management
chief's on
team.
vacation, the fire chief's on vacation next
Okay.
week. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm baffled, because I mean, we had met last month or this month, the emergency management, we agreed to keep it under the fire department. That would eliminate any of the problems with Cindy being on the selectmen versus her job. So everything stayed the same. We agreed at that, and Marlene was at the meeting, so she was bringing you that information. Now I'm hearing there's a job description change. I'm not sure what's going on, because, I mean, nobody else's job description changed. I mean, who rewrote the job description? I know we hired Colleen Adamski to write job descriptions a long time ago, and we paid her for it. And so I'm not sure what's going on. Why all of a sudden are we changing the job description when there's a job description there and it's underneath the fire chief? So, I mean, it just, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you guys should be voting on her position tonight, whether you're gonna put her in that position or you're not, okay? Either a yes or a no. It doesn't make sense to go and start changing things. I mean, at first, Brian, it was a conflict of interest, and then it's the ethics commission, then it's the money, and everything is an excuse, okay? What is it gonna be next time when we come across something else here? This is ridiculous, all right? We wanna get our group together and get moving, and you're holding it up, okay? So, it doesn't make sense to me. What the hell are you doing? You know, you're just putting it off, and that's not fair to all of us. You're not
So-
fair. There's gotta be a problem, and if it's personal, you don't belong sitting there if it's personal. I'm sorry.
It's
but
not,
That's the way I feel
excuse
about
me,
it.
excuse me.
Yes,
Didn't you and the chiefs bring the proposal to move it under the Board of Selectmen, Ed, 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
we did.
Okay, so let me
We
stop you,
did,
let me
and
stop
we
you right
changed
there.
it.
Let me stop you right there. I didn't do that.
We changed it.
Who brought it forward, though?
Pardon?
Who brought it forward?
Who brought
The
it
police
forward?
chiefs and the Emergency Management Committee to move it under the Board of
We all talked
Selectmen.
about it, and we agreed.
I'm just trying to get the facts out there, because I don't want to be accused of something that I'm not doing.
Well,
So, and we
Well, why are
didn't
you
change
changing things
the job description, we updated it and clarified it.
nobody else's, in the whole town of Hatfield, nobody else's was changed except for this one. Why?
Because it needed to be clarified. If not reporting to the select board, then who would the emergency management director report to?
According to the job description, it says she's reporting to the fire chief.
Right, and that's what this says. So I don't know what you're talking about.
But you're changing the whole job description you said there.
Well, I think that what the
So,
job,
if
we're not
it's already
changing,
said
let's,
that,
let's
why
let's
are
be,
you
let's be
changing it?
fair, because the people can't read what I'm reading or what you've been handed. I mean, you want me to read what's in red? Take about 2 seconds. Works under the fire chief rather than with the fire chief, and works with the emergency management director, with emergency planning. You okay with that? I'm just saying, okay. Incumbent will be, so anything that's in black, John, can you put the camera this way? I don't know how zoomed you get. Anything in black is already the existing job description. So to sit there and accuse me and Ed, or me and the chiefs, of rewriting the entire job description is a false statement, okay? And I take offense to it. The incumbent will be required to update the online comprehensive emergency management plan and perform NIMSCAT's report on a yearly basis, and preparing and submit all other reports required relating to emergency incidents. Upon each that's already there. Upon each update, electronic versions of the plan shall be forwarded to the chief elected officials and department heads. I mean, that sure seems fair. If the plan's being updated anyways,
That's Stephen's job.
right?
Okay, that's Stephen's
Well,
job.
if it's submitted by the emergency management director, why is it Stephen's job? Who's updating the plan?
You're putting her underneath the fire chief, that's his job to submit. She submits it to him.
In your opinion.
And he's,
In your opinion.
okay.
Incumbent will give monthly meeting presentations, develop meeting information if necessary, recommend goals and objectives, and acquire and make available pertinent emergency information brochures for community education. Seems reasonable. Incumbent will be required to update the hazard mitigation plan, submitting and assuring a current plan is approved by MEMA and FEMA. That's in red, so that's just spelling out what should be done. Develops information in the plan, I'm skipping a few because there's no changes to them. Develops information to plan, implement, and coordinate programs, including the either COOP or co-op, my apologies for not knowing which it is, plan, hazard mitigation plan, resource management, operational readiness. Okay. Maintains the emergency notification system being utilized. That's code red, I'm assuming. And then we've added a few things down the bottom. The incumbent shall provide monthly reports via electronic means to the chief elected official, town administrator, police chief, and fire chief, outlining grant activity, status of preparedness plans, and other information they find pertinent. I think that seems reasonable. Assures chief elected official and department heads receive MEMA-issued situational awareness deemed pertinent. I'm guessing that's the snowstorm coming, blizzards, hurricanes, what have you. I think that seems legitimate. And performance-related duties is assigned by the fire chief or chief elected official. Those are the handful of changes to the job description.
Can I get a copy of that?
Yeah.
I mean, these are your opinion, I don't, who wrote that?
The two chiefs and myself met. They put this together for the most part.
Okay, so you're saying the fire chief and the police chief put it together along with
Correct. Correct.
Okay. All right. They had never said anything at the meeting that this was going to be a condition or anything like that. That's why it's like, what are you guys doing?
Well, does any of that seem over the top to you?
We're taking a recommendation by the two chiefs and Brian working together to update the job description. That's what's being presented right here.
Just a question, or a statement, I guess, it's more in the form of a question. And that does not include input from the Emergency Services Committee.
Well, we don't have an emergency service committee, we have an emergency management committee.
Or a emergency management committee.
Well,
There's no input from that.
Mike, I don't know if there is it or isn't. I didn't meet with the whole committee. They meet monthly, I think.
Right, all I'm asking, that notwithstanding, it appears that there was no opportunity for that committee to provide input, as did the fire chief and the police chief.
Well, the committee is an appointed committee, which is no offense, by the way, to anybody on the committee. It's an important committee. But I think the fire chief and the police chief are the experts in emergency services, not necessarily the members or many members that are on the committee. Right? I mean...
Well, that's a matter of opinion, Brian.
I can't imagine somebody's got more experience than the fire chief and the police chief, but that's just me, I guess.
All right. All of that, I guess my other question is to you, Brian, at this point, since you met with the fire chief and the police chief, did they also, in addition to recommending changes in the position description, did they make and revise a change in their recommendation, which was made 3 months ago, in the reporting structure of the EMD?
In what regard?
Did they change their recommendation from...
I think it's always been under the fire chief.
They must have, because it says under fire chief.
Okay, so they have...
It's been under the fire chief.
In your opinion, based on...
They changed the word, works with,
okay,
to works under. Because that's how this is, because the emergency management director can't work for the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, all I'm asking is that, I didn't think I was going to get into this level of detail myself, but 2 months ago, when you guys were talking about this, the recommendation was that that position would report to the Board of Selectmen.
That's correct.
Correct. Has that recommendation changed?
Yes, according to
Well,
Okay, all right, that's all, okay.
the recommendation changed, which means it's staying as it was prior to that recommendation.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay, but the recommendation that you had in hand 2 months ago has now changed, And those people are now suggesting that it remain as is, the reporting structure remain as is.
Well, according to this supervision scope, it says position reports to the fire chief.
Okay.
And part of what also came into this, I think, was, as some of us spoke about earlier, was the budgets had been done for, Ed, you brought this up a lot, which, the department and the funding and all of that. So I think that was just going to keep it easier and cleaner from where money, versus moving into a different department, was just going to keep it cleaner and easier and make it.
Why wasn't all this stuff brought up prior? I mean, we've been talking about this since last year, or last fall, okay? And all of a sudden now, it's brought up that there's a change in here, okay? It's like one thing after another. Brian, your comment was that the Ethics Commission didn't have a problem with it, I didn't have a problem with appointing her. And that was your quote prior, quite a few meetings ago. Okay, and then all of a sudden, it just keeps.
It was a couple meetings ago,
changing.
and then we were asked to bring it under the Board of Selectmen. That kind of changed everything then. And that's when the discussions and all these other things became unfolded.
Am I correct?
I did share with the board members that at the last committee meeting, the committee decided not to do anything.
Right, just leave it underneath the fire chief, period, and that way you guys appoint,
Correct.
and it's done. And it just keeps going on and on and on.
I think that I can't speak for them because they're not here. I think part of this, Ed, is that it needed the job description or the expectations, I think, needed to not be understood or assumed. They needed to be in writing. And again, I don't see what the big deal is here. I mean,
Without going through it a couple times.
We'll go through, go through it. That's fine. And it's a proposal, by the way, for the select board to discuss.
Well, our committee stands at leaving it the way it is and go from there. So I'm not sure why Mike and the fire chief and police chief are looking to do what they're doing here.
Okay, I don't understand, you make a comment like that, I gotta be honest, and the townspeople aren't getting,
I don't understand it, Brian.
because they're the fire chief and the police chief.
Yes, we're gonna do it, or no, we're not gonna do it.
But what is wrong with updating a job description for anybody that it needs? We just went through the human resource policy.
You appointed 80 people today, this year, or how many we have on appointees, and you never questioned the job description on any one of them, okay, except for this one.
They were done in bulk, and what brought this to a head was the recommendation to bring it under Board of Selectmen, which is when I said, well, we should have an updated job description. We should know who's going to be potentially, who's going to be hired. They should know what to expect, and that's what kind of got this whole ball rolling. I mean, none of this is over the top, in my opinion.
So what you're saying is who's going to be hired, so you're saying that you're denying that she's not going to be the person?
No, I was reiterating what was said a month or two ago.
So it appears to me that the position itself remains intact.
Correct.
The reporting structure has not changed.
Correct.
What you would like to do is tweak the position description.
Like to get a few reports. I haven't gotten an email since I've been on the Board of Selectmen from anybody in the emergency management team. All my MEMA and FEMA, excuse me, Ed, all my MEMA and FEMA notifications come from the DPW director. Have you gotten any emails?
Okay, so now you're getting into the performance of
Not the performance of the current candidate. The performance on a go-forward basis, we're setting expectations. Like a handful of them. So I don't get the big
So that
deal.
notwithstanding then, the position's intact, the reporting structure's intact, then why can't you make an appointment? Either renew that appointment or say, we're going to take another 30 days and
scrub it. I mean, Ed and I, again, we haven't talked.
or look at all alternatives, including the existing person in that position, based on a 5% change in the position description?
I think in fairness to that, I mean, I will make the appointment at least for another 30 days. And the reason I'm doing it for that amount of time is I think, you can chuckle, Ed, but I think the emergency management director, if they want to continue in the position, should have a chance to look at this and see it and see if it's suitable for them. just being fair. I mean, that doesn't, again, it doesn't seem unreasonable to me, but.
It just
yeah.
seems that you're doing things underhandedly, Brian. The board-
We're in a public
board doesn't-
meeting, Ed. How am I
board doesn't
doing things
know what's going
underhandedly?
on.
Oh, you can think whatever you want, but that's not true.
well,
I don't,
I sit
again, I
on
don't like
committee
being accused of
and-
things that aren't true, so.
Going
I'm
through
going
this
to
whole-
close the
Yeah.
discussion because I think that's fair. We can give the emergency management team a chance to review this, and I'll make a
Come back.
motion to appoint the emergency management director for another 30 days.
While it gets reviewed by the emergency management team, and they can do it with the chiefs if they want. I mean,
Okay, so motion made?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we send this back to the emergency management team and you guys look at it. And, okay, because this does, when I look at it, it does try to clarify and tweak it a little bit, that's all. All right?
So Ed, is it your expectation that the Emergency Management Committee will provide you with something in writing prior to the Board of Selectmen's next meeting, at which time you will decide on who to appoint?
No, I'm not, this is, my expectation is they look at this job description.
Yeah.
The appointment's a separate thing. I think we
Right.
should just look at
Two
this
different
job
things.
description and see if this is acceptable, that's all.
And work with the chiefs.
I personally would like to continue the emergency management director for the next couple of years, but I've come to an agreement with my colleague to first, let's take one step at a time, let's review this, okay? And then they can get back and say if this is acceptable.
So at your next meeting, you're going to approve the position description, but not make a reappointment? That
No.
is another issue for a subsequent meeting?
May I answer that? I know you're asking the chairman. Well, what I would say, when you say the next meeting, we haven't even talked about when our next meeting is. So my point being, before the end of August might be a better answer to your question, because if these guys are meeting, I'm pointing at Ed for the townspeople, emergency management team.
September, the first Monday in September.
Well, you should move it up then if you can.
Well, there's vacations.
Put up because of vacation, but we had the emergency meeting because you needed to get an answer to you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we won't, so, well, maybe we can go through September with, Ed, to your point, I think that having an opportunity for the Emergency Management Committee to meet with and discuss with the fire chief and the police chief, the proposed emergency management director changes to the job description is a fair assessment. So if that doesn't take place till September, then, we'll take care of things, up until then. So, okay?
The next time, well, it doesn't matter, because, the fire chief and the police chief are part of the emergency management, and if they're going, making their own decisions, you may as well not even have a damn emergency management team.
Well, I think the emergency management team.
That's not being part of the team.
When you have your meeting, discuss it
team-
with them.
Everybody working together, it's like we're not working together here. If you're telling me the fire department and you and the police department are coming up with things versus, leaving everybody out, that's not
So-
team effort here, so.
So
I'm
what
not
happened
saying-
was the fire chief and police chief were asked for any recommendations to keep it a cleaner type of job description and set the
They were
expectations.
asked at our last meeting, and they didn't have anything,
I-
everybody agreed to
Ed,
it the way it was.
I can't speak
That's
to
what I'm
that.
telling you.
Well,
And Marlene was there to contest it.
I don't doubt what you're saying, I'm just telling you that this is
Seems
where
like every time we come up with
that
a
this is where this
solution here-
document came from.
You get a slap in the face again.
Well, anyways, we're moving right along. Well, like my mother always said, things always work out somehow. Okay, so Cindy, if you want to come back, we'll move to make motions on executive session here.
Sure.
That's the last topic, right?
Yeah, we have two of them.
So you guys
Personalities.
Now, my understanding is, on this, we have two executive sessions, but we only require one vote if I read them both off. Is that correct, Marlene?
Right, right.
Okay, so make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21A, Number 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares an open meeting may have detrimental effect on a negotiating position of the public party, and also executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Number 2, conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and we will not be coming back into session, correct?
Into public session, right?
Public session. So Jaworski says, yes.
I think the DPW director needs to address you before you leave.
What was that?
I think the DPW director needs
Before
to
we-
address you
Just before you go into
leave.
executive session, I just checked with the wastewater superintendent with the new permit, and we're at 38% only capacity down there. So
That was 80.
I just wanted to make that announcement.
So it's not 80,
It's 38%.
38%.
Due to the new permit. And now with the new permit, if you are over 75%, you have to expand at 75%.
Thank you very much.
So,
Sounds a lot fun.
yeah,
Thank you.
so we're good.
Nice.
for answering my
Thanks for the update. So I will second Ed's motion of going into executive session and not returning to
Open
open session. So Moriarty, aye.
Jaworski, aye.
Aye, Doug.
Okay, thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thanks, John.